All right, so welcome to the second part of the leadership and ethics class for today. At this point, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting into the planning stage for the class. Thank you for all your introductions before. Um, w- we need to spend some time planning because there's a lot of activities um, that are required to complete the program. First off, I need to check and make sure, has everybody been able to, I should say by a show of hands, is there anybody who has not yet been able to get to the e-classroom? Anybody who hasn't been able to get to the e-classroom, just put up your hands. All right. Looks like everybody's in. Secondly, has everybody here been able to join the WhatsApp chat group for this class? I should say, is there anybody here who has not been able to? That might be the easier question to ask. You could put your hands up if you haven't been able to join the WhatsApp chat group. Now, both the link for this meeting as well as the link for the WhatsApp chat group is on the e-classroom. So that's something that I want to utilize because it makes it easier for me to communicate with you all about things that might be changing suddenly. All right. Okay, so as we're talking about the e-classroom, let's go look at that at this point in time. You guys are seeing this on the screen? Yes, no?
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Yes, sir.
okay, cool. You'll need to open your mic because I'm not really seeing a list of I'm not really seeing the class list anymore. All right, let me make this a little bigger so that everybody can see it easily. All right, so this is the e-classroom. This is the one that you should be in. It's actually populated with stuff as opposed to the one that just says um, has different topic one, topic two, and has nothing in it. So let's go through the sections so you'll be able to go through this on your own at a slower rate if you want to. All right. Well, not later on after class, I guess. So this is my welcome notice for you guys. It kind of gives you an idea of what to expect in the course. I try to be more conversational in that, so we'll see how we you can read it and see how you're going. All right. So there are two textbooks that you need to download. These are going to be used exclusively for this class, and the copies are available here. These are the textbooks that you'll be utilizing. The Leadership Experience by Daft and the Exploring Leadership by Kumaeves, Lucas, and McMahon. Now, this is going to be the primary text because this one is designed for college students in mind. Whereas the Daft, we're going to use about 4 or 5 chapters from the Daft to augment what the other leadership textbook is doing. So you need to download both of them and have them available for you for your use. This is the course outline. You could download that and have a look at it. A course map, which is a concept map basically, which is a visualization of the course. So you could download that, have a look at it. I'd say, create a little folder where you're going to put all these things in. All right, so this section here has to do with links to assist with your self-analysis. So that hints at one of the assignments that you're going to be involved in is a fairly extensive self-analysis. And there are a couple of things here that I've placed to assist you with that. There's a personality test questionnaire that you take and the interpretation here. There is a link to 16personalities.com where you can take another test um, online and get the kind of results that you that will help you to think. Now, the main thing with these things is you need to be honest with them, because if you're not honest to yourself, I mean, that'd be really poor. You will get some skewed results. This is another one. This is the VARC learning evaluation. This is to help you understand better how you prefer to learn. Some of you all may have done this already in FYEC 100. I will say to you, if you haven't done it in a little while, do it again because what happens is over time, your learning preferences may change. So you want to see if that happens. These are designed to assist you in working through your self analysis. So You can use them to help, you know, evaluate yourself and get to understand yourself, and it's part of the things that you're going to utilize in your self analysis. All right. Um, that then leads us to the course schedule, which is this document that we're going to spend some time to look at today and actually do some further planning. That then leads us to the links for the classes. So this is where I said the link to this session is here, as well as the link to the WhatsApp chat group is here as well. So you should be able to find these things easily. Chapters 1 to 3, there are 3 PowerPoints available, and you'll see the significance of this as we move on. The recording that I'm making now will find itself located at this position in on your e-classroom. So I'll just load it up right after here. Let me just turn on my editor so you'll see how I'll be able to add those things. So, right, so be able to upload the class recordings here by adding activities. So I'll just add that after class is finished, probably tonight when I finish my other class. All right. Then we have a section here on assignment submission points. You'd notice there's no Turnitin because, and you'd understand why in a little bit as to what's going on with this. So these are all um, points where you'd be submitting your assignments, and we'll go through the assignments in more detail in just a little bit. All right. Um, admit. All right, let's hopefully they got in. And then after that, we have another activity. It's called a debate activity. You'd see that there's a scheduled date for the debate, December 3rd. That's actually the last teaching week of the semester. These are the topics that we'll be dealing with. We'll have to do some planning and make some selections. So in this block here, you'll also see the documents for debates, which is the debate guidelines, the rubrics for marking the activities, and so on. And this portal here is where I'm going to where when rubrics are completed, this is where the rubrics are to be submitted, and the recordings of the debates will be added at this point here. That then brings us to the last block, which reads student chapter presentations, and this is where the recordings of your chapter presentations will be added. So in essence, if you look at this e-classroom, it looks very undeveloped, and that's primarily because we are going to collectively add your your efforts throughout the semester is going to start to populate this class, this e-space, and start to build this into this e-space that you will have a hand in creating, and I'll explain why that is happening. So far, so good. Everybody follows what we're talking about. Any questions so far yet? Or you're just kind of waiting to hear everything? All right. No, I'm not sure. Let me see. Let's see if I could open this here and keep your hands, so I can see if hands go up on asking questions. Right. So I'll open you all out like this. Something in the chat. Okay. Let's make sure that. See, we keep on losing people, and people keep on coming back and forth. So this is why the recording is probably going to be a useful thing. All right. So let's go to the course schedule and assessment guide. So this document here kind of outlines what we plan to do for the semester and is going to give us some more specific instructions. You'll see my email addresses here. This now you're not submitting anything to me directly, but these are here just in case you need to contact me. And if for some reason the college's websites go down and you need to reach out to me via email, you can utilize my Gmail account, which is my private account. I'm not supposed to leave that there, but that's just in case things go awry. Um, but this, more importantly, this is my mobile number, which I'm using for the WhatsApp chat. This, of course, is a 2 to 5 session. All right. So we'll see in terms of a schedule of activities. Today's class, we are doing the getting acquainted and planning activities. All right. What follows next is I will present to you Unit 1 of the textbook. This one here, Unit 1 of the textbook, which is 3 chapters of pretty long, and I would need to, I'll be using these three dates here to present September 17th, October 1st, and the 8th, October 8th. Now you'd notice that there is a day missing in between, and why is that? Anybody knows? In September, what's happening on September
It's a
24th?
holiday.
What
Republic
holiday
Day.
is that? Right.
Republic.
So yes, there's that holiday there on the 21st of September that affects. So I'm just going to leave it alone. The next holiday that might affect us is Diwali, which from what I got might be the 20th of November, although I'm hearing something about the 24th. So we have to see where that comes in. All right. So I'm anticipating, I'm trying to take proactive planning for any holidays that will disturb us. So we actually have 4 weeks here, but because 1 week we have a holiday that's going to interrupt things. Now that allows you all more planning time because presentations will then continue. So we have to do a number of chapters out of those two textbooks. So I'm doing chapters 1 to 3, then the class which means I'm going to be presenting and teaching content out of chapters 1 to 3. And you guys are then going to take up the mantle of teaching the class, the leadership responsibility in small teams to present chapters 4, 5, 6, 7, chapter 6 from the DAF, chapter 9 from the back to the exploring leadership, chapters 8, and then we're going to switch over to the DAF and do chapters 13, chapter 12, and chapter 15 for different topics. So there are 10 other chapters that we add. So we're going to be dealing with 13 chapters overall. I am responsible for teaching 3. You all, collectively as a class, will be responsible for teaching the other 10 chapters to each other. All right? Now, technically, what should happen is you should do what? You should read the chapter, and then, that way when somebody else is presenting, you'd know whether or not they're doing it correctly or not. But I know my students don't like to read, correct? Tell me a lie now. Tell me a lie. You all don't
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to read.
100% correct.
Right. So I know what is likely to happen, but it means that if you are presenting a chapter, don't don't believe that the guys in the class would have read the chapter. So knowing that, it means that you are responsible for presenting the information in such a way to ensure that somebody who has not read the chapter will understand. So it's not presenting. What you're doing is you're teaching the chapters to your classmates. So that's why I said you're taking the leadership role in an educational circumstance here to teach the class. So this class is really going to be a exercise in leadership activities all the way around, from the material that we're going to work with, as well as some of the other activities that we're going to be taking part in. All right. So we have to set up some teams here for all 25 of you all to be able to to deal with the chapters. So we'll get back to that in a little bit. So let's go through the 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 evaluation. So this is the first one we talked about. So your student chapter presentations actually is going to count for 30% of your final grade. So this is a significant piece of work that contributes to your final grade. That means you're going to be in smaller groups and you will make those presentations. Now I shouldn't say the word presentation because what you're really doing is you're going to teach the chapter that you're given. In so doing, what I'm going to be looking at, I'm going to be assessing you while you do your teaching. So I'm going to be looking at making sure that you covered all the content from the chapter, that you've used examples in your explanations, both from the chapter as well as from your own experiences or from other, external experiences that lead to clarifications in your explanations overall. I'm going to look at the recommendations that you make to your fellow students about how they could continue learning or what they can do to, you know, act upon some of the things that you come across in the in the chapters. I'm going to look at your use of both an introduction and conclusion in the way you pull your presentations together. And that area is going to, which is really about the content and how you go about explaining things, is going to count for 60% of your grade for this assignment. So obviously it's 30%, but it's marked out of 100, okay? I'm going to, for 25 marks, I'm going to be evaluating your style of delivery. The form, did you just come there and start reading things boringly? Or did you try to do something that was more engaging, have conversations, open-ended questions, that type of stuff I'm going to be looking at from your style of delivery. I'm going to be looking at the quality and amount or degree of class interaction. Now, most times members of the class do like what you're all doing today is stay quiet and you don't say anything. Even though I ask questions, you only get one or two people who would respond. That kind of thing is what I'm going to also be evaluating. I'm going to look at the presentation tools that you're going to use or the aids. Primarily, what you're going to probably do is, have a PowerPoint presentation or some other form of PowerPoint presentation that you're going to utilize throughout the teaching exercise. You might want to add short video clips or GIFs or anything that will add to the explanation of the concepts as well as the enjoyment of the session. And one of the other things I'm going to be looking at too is your ability to manage time. So in terms of your presentation. Now this one's a little tricky because some chapters are shorter, well, I should say shorter, but less dense than other um, chapters. So I will be relatively flexible here because at the end of the day, it's a 3 hour session, and each group will have an hour and a half. You don't have a full 3 hour. You have an hour and a half to do your presentations. Now, I know that sounds a little long, but trust me, when you're presenting a chapter, it'll be very short. And then, of course, I need to see appropriate citation for the documents in your presentation. So the citation I'm looking for will be either by word of mouth, where in your statements you say according to so and so, or according to this, or according to this author, you use it that way, or in your slides you have notations that we can see, but you don't necessarily have to read. Okay, but at the end of your PowerPoint presentations, you probably should put together some citation slides to indicate your sources of information. That amounts to 100%. So what happens is each session that we have for presentations or teaching sessions from the class, there would be 2 per session per week. After you finish your presentations and we deal with any sort of questions that come up from the class, I will dismiss the class, but I will call the groups back individually into the classroom and give them immediate feedback on what they've done or the score that they would have gotten. So once you do your presentation, you will know immediately if something was right or wrong or if there's anything you need to do. But more importantly, you would know exactly what your score is. Now, with that in mind, I don't want you submitting the PowerPoint until you've completed your presentation. So you don't upload anything to this block until after you present your work. The reason for that is if for some reason something goes really, really wrong, I want to offer you an opportunity to kind of fix things so that you could recover. You don't want to get a poor mark here. You want to get a A. You want to get 90 and above in this presentation. All right. Most people do because they take it to heart and they really put in a good effort in getting this sorted out. So I hope to see a similar type of activity taking place here. All right, so the second assessment, now notice that's 30%. Any questions about this from anybody so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, okay. All right, so that's that. Then we have the debate. As I said, the debate is going to take place later in the semester. And I've actually tried to make sure we have some time set aside for us to do some debate preparation work. Now, we're not going to debate all 3 topics. We're going to select 2 of them, and we're going to debate the two out of these 3. And when we get to the point where we're doing some planning, in essence, basically, there are going to be three teams, one team arguing for, one team arguing against, and the third team is going to be the mediating team who will run the whole debate. And therefore, they have some responsibilities that they have to pay attention to. All right. So generally, how we do it is we have um, a teams of 10, well, teams of 5 per topic. So we have two teams of 10 that would be arguing for topic 1 and topic 2. That then subdivides into teams of 5. So that's how we end up with 4 teams there. And then we'll have one team that will be the mediators. So that'll be a group of 5 people who have to run the entire show. Um, and interestingly enough, what will happen is that the mediating team will score the debaters utilizing the rubrics that you saw in the e-classroom. And the debating teams will mark the effectiveness of the mediating team. So you all are going to be marking each other. I am not going to mark anything here. You all are going to be marking each other. So this brings into practice a lot of the things that we're going to be discussing and going through in the content, including ethical behavior, including leadership potential and leadership activities. So a lot of trust is going to be afforded you in terms of this activity across the board. All right. So far, so good. That debate sounds interesting. Which topic appeals
Yes,
to you
sir.
all? Which topic appeals to you all? Leaders are born, not made. Men make better leaders than women. That one's usually going to be a hectic one. And transformational leadership. Leaders are more effective than transactional leaders. So when we get into it, you'll start to understand why these are the topics that we're going to be debating. All right, no questions so far? All right, assessment 3 is a midterm assessment exercise. It's going to be 3 questions that you're going to be doing some reflective analysis on. Now, the the midterms actually become live from October 22nd to December 1st. So it's not meant to be an exam, but what it is, let me just show you that document one time because it's on the e-classroom already, but I don't want to go and download it. Here we go. So this is the midterm reflections. So there are a couple of chapters that are involved with this. From the presentation, you notice that there's a particular date that it becomes active, October 22nd. And the reason for that is by October 22nd, we'd have completed chapters 4, 5, 6, and 7. And these chapters here, chapter 6 and 7 from the Exploring Leadership text, are the ones that are under investigation here in this. So one is about chapter 7 is about teams and groups, and the first question here has to do with that. Chapter 6 deals with ethical leadership, so that's where this comes in. And part of ethical leadership involves dilemmas, ethical dilemmas, and ethical decision making. And that's where this question guides you through. But these questions are asked in such a way that it requires you to evaluate these things in the context of your own life experiences. So that's why it's called reflective midterm exercise, because it's taking content that we will cover in the class and it's asking you to apply these things or these concepts in your everyday activity or past activity. So like for example, list the 5 stages of group development and briefly describe your personal experience with each stage. So this is not about regurgitating the what comes from the textbook. Yes, you can list the list is some marks. There's like 2 marks for this the list. All right, and if you all remember this because you should have done this in first year experience course, the 5 stages of group development are forming. You all know this one: forming, storming, norming. You all know those things? They sound familiar? All right, we'll do it again, no worries. Second part of this question has to do with um, what you've done in the past to deal with group conflict. and compare it to what the recommendations coming out of the textbook will tell you, and therefore conclude what you might do different in the future. All right. So this is not an exam because it requires you to sit and reflect on your actions in the past. And you're reflecting on your actions in the past through the lens of theory that you're going to meet in the textbooks. You follow me? Or concepts that you're going to meet coming out of textbooks, which is why it's such a powerful tool. All right. So remember those chapters 5 and 6 and 7 coming out of this textbook that are going to be under investigation. So that speaks to your midterm activity, which is valued at 20% of your final grade. So your first presentation for 30% and the midterm count for half the marks for the session, for the class. All right. I expect by December 1st you'll be finished with that and you would have uploaded to the e-classroom. Now, I'd tell you that it's important that you get that sorted out because you don't want to have that amount of work sitting on your head waiting for the end of the semester because that's just too much. You're doing yourself an injustice if you procrastinate. If you miss the 1st of December, don't worry. You could submit it later on, but try and get it done within that time frame for your own benefit. Okay. We already spoke about the debate. We said the debate is the 3rd of December, and we have 2 weeks set aside for debate preparation, November 19th and 26th. It means we will call some classes. We're not going to be doing anything but preparing for it, because by that time we will be finished with presentations. All right, so that then brings us to, after the assessment 3, that brings us to the one that I spoke about before, based upon some of the content you've seen on the e-classroom. That's the self-analysis. Self-analysis is a 20% exercise. This is one you can start to work on almost immediately. Because what we're trying to get you to do here is to reflect on how you've become the person you are today. By trying to look at all of those things around you that have influenced you in becoming the individual you are today. That was why we have some questions here that kind of guide you through it. What is your family history? Now, yes, you can use these questions. I would suggest that you use these questions, but you could also add other things that you think are important for you. Um, so we try to cover a wide ambit of possible influences. So your family and your family history and traditions and customs that your family practices. Um, how these factors influence your life and perception. So we're trying to make that connection between what has happened in the past, and you're free to go back as far as you would like, at least as far back as you think is influential to you. So it's not an autobiography, but really more of a cause and effect activity that you're looking at. All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, so you want to go through these questions to be able to pull that together. You are also free to utilize images and pictures and stuff to help you with your analysis. However, if these pictures and images or quotations are not of your own sources, then you'd have to cite where necessary. Now, it's kind of difficult because here, this is all about you and your life and things that have happened to you, people that have become significant in your life, or incidents that may have happened that caused you to become the person you are today. So there's a lot of self-reflection. In some instances, it might be painful. For some people, it might be nice to reminisce about it. But some of it may bring up, things that you don't want to look at. But this course is going to force you to have to look at them. Um, Now, interestingly enough, I'm going to have to mark this, so I've set up a marking scheme for you to see how the marks are going to be allocated. Introductions and conclusions have 5 marks apiece. Tiffany Brown, see if she gets back in. Welcome back, Miss Brown. All right, right. So The bigger part is going to be use of language, going to be paying attention to how you've been able to write what you're writing up your stuff. So looking at grammar, punctuation, spelling, and so on. Also, you're putting together a document that has to be submitted like an academic paper. So I'm going to be looking at the way in which you organize the paper. That includes the midterm should also be set up like this as well. So we want a nice readable font with double line spacing so it makes it a little easier for me to read. Title pages, page numbers, and contents pages if required. So that means once it passes 4 pages, you need to be sticking in a contents page and so on. Now, there is, in fact, for all of these assignments, there are no word limits. Simply because some of you all might be able to, run through this and get it easily, but other people might, need to be a little more long-winded with the whole writing and stuff like that. So I don't want to set any sort of limitations. Okay, so far so good. This is where you can also bring to bear the VARC test and the 16 personalities test to help you understand more about yourself as to why you are or who you are now. All right, that type of question. Everybody kind of understands this assignment. Any questions? Everybody's okay? You could thumbs up if you don't want to open your mic. Yes, Miss Malik, you have a question?
Hi, sir.
Uh
Yes.
huh.
So for the self-analysis, right? The questions like, okay, what is your family history? What are your family traditions and customs? So if you don't have much of that, you could put that as an answer.
Yeah, because it will have create well, the lack of traditions and customs in your family has had an impact on you. It will have caused something. So if you come from a
Great,
family
thanks.
that has, yeah, you understand whether you have traditions and customs, and sometimes you don't even think about it as traditions and customs, huh? Things you normally do. Think about the holidays that you get involved. Generally, customs and activities tend to center a bit around um, holiday periods. Huh? Miss Yearwood, welcome.
Afternoon, sir. Apologize for being late. I did not have any internet.
Okay. Could you just tell us quickly what program you're doing
Oh, I'm doing radiography.
and how far in are you?
I'm in my second year,
All
first
right.
semester.
Okay. Do you have previous working experience?
I do not.
Okay, so you just came from school into this program.
Yep,
Have you done
yep.
any of the clinicals just yet? Have you started any
Yeah,
clinic?
I did clinicals earlier this year.
All right, so at least you're getting some kind of working experience there because it's
Yeah.
clinical activities. What do you hope to gain from this class?
Mm,
What do you hope
You
to
know, I'm
gain
not
from?
sure yet.
You're not sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure. When I saw that I had to take this class, I was a bit surprised because I wasn't even sure that this was. I didn't know this was a class.
Oh, okay. This was just a figment of your imagination then. Okay, we'll leave it like that for now. All right, thanks for sharing, Miss Yearwood. We are actually
Okay.
in the process of going through the assignments, and Miss Malik was asking a question here, which is really interesting. Miss Malik asked, "What about if my family doesn't have traditions and customs?" Well, that in itself becomes a tradition. You don't have any customs. Why wouldn't you have any customs though, Miss Malik?
Well, so it may be like you said, what would have considered not to be a traditional custom would technically be one.
So what right? So what do you all do for Christmas?
Well, we just eat and
Right.
lime, I guess that's normal. But I would consider that when I think of like
That is
tradition and
traditional.
customs, I think, like
What?
a different level. Like we just do this at a specific time every single year on this
No,
day.
no. All right. What do you do for your birthday?
It's not really a big booty person, so that would be a
Right.
good example.
Right. So there, but understand that is traditional for you. For some people,
Okay.
it's a big celebration. They take the day off from work and all kind of thing. For me, it's just a regular day, just like you. Right. But you understand, it is traditional for you to treat it as just another day. It's not a special day, kind of thing. So that has an impact upon how you behave with other people around you and so on. So, so what we may think as not having traditions is in fact a tradition in itself. Making sense?
Yes, sir. Thanks for that.
All right, no worries. Okay, so as you can see, this is something that will require some time and thinking for you to sit and really start to do a piece of analytical, reflective actions about yourself. It's kind of hard sometimes to do this. Some people don't like to evaluate or think about themselves too much because they may not like what they see. Um, and one of the things that we have to learn as well is that we tend to be our worst enemies. We think poorly of ourselves all the time, and we don't necessarily see the good things in ourselves. And that's something that this exercise should also point out to you. That yes, maybe you have all of these negative things, but at the same time, you have positive things as well. So it's something that you want to learn to get some balance with. All right, so that's this assignment 4, 20%. That then leads us to the last assignment, reflections and leadership action plans for 15%. Now, this question here you should do before we come back to class next week. As you commence this course, reflect on what are your expectations of the course, your lecturer, and yourself. This is one of the reasons why I'm asking the questions I did through in your introductions, because it's to give you a kickstart into answering this question. So what you should do is that sometime before the next class, open up a file somewhere, name it Reflections and Action Plan, or BUSI assignment number 5, Reflections and Action Plan, and answer the first question as as completely as you think, because it's asking you to reflect on three things: your expectations for the course, which is what I asked you about; your expectations of your lecturer, that's me, all right, what you expect to get from me, and the expectations you have for yourself for this course. So I want you to sit, write those things, and save it and put it away, because the rest of this class, the rest of this assignment can only be done when we've ended the course. Because the rest of it is at the end of the course, reflect on how your expectations have been identified above, have been met or not met. And all the other questions relate to you evaluating yourself after the fact, after the course is finished. To be honest with you, a lot of the changes that you may occur based upon this class will not take place immediately after the class is finished. It takes some time for that type of critical change to take place, that sort of cognitive shift to begin to click with you. Some of you may be more attuned to it because you're here to seek that type of adjustment, that type of improvement. Others might be here just because they have a class to do and they may be a little more resistant. But understand why this assignment is carded for the end of the course. It's not set up for you to start working at from the very beginning, except the first question. Again, this is all about you and how you feel and what you think. So the need for citation is not necessary unless you use things in your reflections and action plan that are not of your origin, so you'd have to cite the sources of information for it. That could be quotations that you want to use. Some people like to use Bible verses, especially if they have a very strong sense of faith, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you cite it properly, appropriately. Again, to try and make it as clear as possible, I've allocated how I'm going to put the marks together for you, which includes citations. Now, if you don't use citations and citations wasn't necessary, you're not going to lose the 5 marks. You're just going to get it automatically. But if I see you needed to, you've used appropriate citation, you didn't, it will affect you, but not in a great sense, all right? Because it's a maximum deduction of 5 out of 45. This area here tends to be the area where students tend to fail use of language. Well, I say fail, but they tend to lose the most amount of marks in this area. the use of language and document organization. Again, it's an academic paper, although it's something very private and personal. It's not, it's not a diary that you're sending to me, your snippets of your diary. It is to be put together like it is an official document. Again, these are highly personal, so one of the things I'm going to promise you as well is that all your assignments in this class will be held in a strict sense of confidentiality. Because some of the things you may want choose to discuss are of a highly sensitive nature to you, and therefore I don't want to betray your trust in me in sharing these ideas or concepts. All right? Any questions on this one? Everybody understands this? Now, because this can only take place at the end of the semester, what I've done is I've set the submission deadline for both those assignments, the self-analysis and the leadership action plan, as December 24th. Now, remember, the semester ends, teaching time for the semester ends December 7th. Exams will continue until December 21st. Because if we look at our dates here now, if you have your course online. So December 7th is the last teaching day, which means exams start from the 8th and they run until the 20th. The following week is Christmas week, so to speak. All right. And I'm saying by the 24th of December, you have to submit all your assignments because I have until January 4th, which is less than a week away, well, almost, right? I have like a week and 3 days to be able to mark everything that everybody sends to me and upload your grades on Banner because registration then follows afterwards. I don't know if they might shift this down a little bit, but that'd be nice if I could get a little more time. But we'll see how that goes. But right now, the grade input deadline is January 4th. So the latest I can give you to submit your 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 assignments online or in the e-classroom, I should say, is the 24th of December. Now that's outside of teaching time. That's outside of class time. Now I know not all of you all will have exams, but I know some of you may have exams, so that if you know you have exams, a final exam that is going to come up, try and make sure you work on these things, and don't leave them for the last minute, because last minute work is getting up with last minute marks. All right? Okay. Enough said there. Anybody has any questions about this? Queries? Concerns? Nope. Okay, so that brings us to the last element of planning that we need to get involved with. We need to assign people to these chapter presentations. Now, for presentation 1, we need 2 people. We need 2 people max for presentations 1 to 5. And for presentations 6 to 10, we will have 3 people. All right? Now, let's just kind of go through each. All right, and that's how we're going to be able to use up our 25 people. Generally, this class usually is populated with 30, so I end up with 3 in each. But I don't know, because it's online, they decided to limit it to 25. So we need. This is the distribution of group members. So let's look at the titles of the chapters so it gives you an idea. And I want you all to begin to volunteer for, after we go through all the things, I want you all to start to volunteer for chapters that you think you would like to present or work on in teaching the class. So chapter 4 is understanding self. Chapter 5, understanding others. Chapter 6, integrity and moral purpose. Now remember, there's the midterm exercises going to be coming out of this. Chapter 7, teams and groups. Chapter 6, well, presentation 5 is chapter 6 from the DAF. This is the first time we're going to do that. Is courage and moral leadership, which is sort of reprising the chapter on integrity and moral purpose. So there's an overlap between the two. One is from a more, this one is going to be done from a more personal level, whereas the DAFT is going to look at it from a more business level or business point of view. Then we come back to the exploring leadership and we look at being in communities. That's chapter 9. Then we kind of flip back one chapter and we look at complex organizations. And then we leave off the exploring leadership text and we go across to the DAF for the last three presentations. Chapter 13, vision and strategic direction. Chapter 12, power and influence. And then a really important presentation from the DAFT, leading change. And we're looking at the DAFT textbooks tends to focus more on these concepts more from a business or organizational position rather than simply from general positions. So leading change is always going to be a critical one because a lot of organizations, um, engage in change management, and it tends to be a very painful exercise whenever organizations engage in that. That's which is why leading change kind of wraps up the things. So by November 12th, we'll be finished with all our presentations. That then, leaves us with November 19th and 26th to do our prep for the midterms. Sorry, not the midterms, the debate. The debate takes place on the 3rd. So remember, everything's get really tight across the board. So it means we have sessions all the way through, and we'll be doing these synchronous sessions for the entire semester. So although we're online, we still have to set aside time to meet. All right, but there will be some flexibility because it'll be more critical for those of you who have presentations to make sure you attend. But when you're not and you're just listening to other people present, it's a little more relaxed for you. So it's gonna go in ebbs and flows because some of you may be under the gun, so to speak. But your presentations don't start until October 15th. Okay, so let's start getting some volunteers. You feel free to volunteer for any chapter you feel you want to work on. No, put your hand up
So
and
that
then I'll call you. Put your hand up first, then I'll call on you, okay? All right. I'm going to try to leave this here so that you could see it. I need to bring up the attendance register so I can grab names. All right. Let's prep this out. Okay, so Nakisha James Prentice, what you looking at?
So I'm looking at presentation 8, vision, and let's see the other part, strategic something.
Strategic direction, autodidact.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
so this is a group that requires 3 students, so we'll work with it like that, okay? Cool. All right. Judah.
so I'd like to work on chapter 5, understanding others.
Judah Salman. Copy. Understanding others, chap presentation 2. All right. So this one is a 2-man team. Ramona.
Yes, sir. I was also looking at that same chapter, understanding others, please.
All right. So that you and Judah will work on it, right? Together. All right. So that team is closed. Judah and Ramona, put your hands down. Brianna King.
I would like to do understanding self.
All right. Okay, good. Brianna needs a partner. Miss Sampat.
I would also like to do understanding self.
All right. So that means this group is fixed. All right. So you know what that means, right? Um, Brianna, you and Anastasia need to start getting together. All right. Alicia Khan.
Hi, sir. I'd like to do chapter 12.
Chapter 12. Power and influence.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. No worries. All right. Put your hand down, Miss Malik.
Hi, sir. Can you just scroll back up for me? Right. I would like to do integrity and moral purpose, chapter 6.
All right. Presentation 3. All right. Slot you in here. All right. Miss Yearwood.
So I'd like to do chapter 9, being in communities.
Okay. cool. That's a 3-man team there. Okay, Farah.
Hi, I would like to do chapter 6, integrity and moral purpose.
With Miss Malik.
Yes.
All right, cool. So you know you're gonna have to reach out to her and start getting together. Miss
Yes.
Deepasad, Alyssa.
Chapter 7, presentation 4.
Chapter 7, presentation for teams and groups. Cool. All right. Sabrina.
Chapter 12, please.
Chapter 12 with Miss Khan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this team needs one more. Faith, Wichun.
Hi, sir. I would also like to do chapter 12 as well.
All right. So that wraps up chapter 12. So those are the 3 people who will be working on that. Zaria. Miss Juman.
I don't mind doing chapter.
What chapter is that there?
Chapter 9.
Chapter 9, being in communities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Miss Juman, thank you. Um, uh, Kalisa.
So I would like to do chapter 9. Is chapter 9 closed?
No, there's space for one more.
Okay, I would like to do chapter 9.
Okay. Okay. Francis.
Hi, sir. I would like to do chapter 7.
Oh, complex organizations or teams and groups.
Teams and groups, sir.
All right. Okay. So that closes off this chapter, or this group, I should say. All right. Anybody hasn't taken up a well, good few of you all haven't volunteered yet. Why not? You're chickening out.
Well,
Right.
see, I just don't know which one to pick.
But choose one, Mr. Singh. All right. Tell you what, since I'll put you here in charge of the daft courage and moral leadership. How about that, Mr. Singh?
Fine by me, sir.
All right. Who else has a Crick? I haven't seen Leanne Crick take up anything yet. Miss Crick. All right. I'll put Miss Crick to lead off on complex organizations. All right. And let's see who else. Nova.
Yes, sir.
Hi. Are you volunteering for anything?
Chapter 6.
Chapter.
Chapter 6, courage and moral leadership.
All right. So that's with Mr. Singh. All right. Who else is here? But Tiffany. All right, Tiffany, I'm going to make an executive decision. I'm going to put you in charge of the team that's going to eventually deal with leading change. Okay? I know you've been having connectivity issues. The reason why I want to place people who are here in class in groups, in chapters that, because there are a couple of people who aren't here, I'm going to have to assign. But at least presentations 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we've loaded already. Chapter 6 is full. Chapter 7 and 8 need 2 apiece. Chapter 9 is closed. Chapter 10 needs 3 people. Is there anybody here who hasn't really? Miss Khan, the second Khan. Nuria Khan. Where you want to go? Or you can't open your mic. Put it in the chat now.
So you hearing me?
I'm hearing you now.
Okay, great. I think I can do chapter 15.
With Tiffany? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Anybody else here who hasn't yet? Has Ariana Ramdas been assigned? Ms. Ramdas, do you want to choose somewhere where you want to go?
So I just got home. Ariana had put 7. Well, I see she put 8 now in the chat.
All right. Okay, chapter 8. I thought so. She couldn't. That's with Prentice. Chapter 8, no, with Crick. Complex organizations. All right. Nova said she wanted to do chapter 6. Did we put her there? Right. Um, and all right. Okay. I think we have everybody who's in class assigned. Let me just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 10, 13, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21. And I think that's about how much we've had in class for the day, right? All right, so we need to assign some of the people who aren't here today to some of these groups, but we want to manage and we want to kind of manage them a little bit. Can I ask, I just wanted to 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 pre to prevent something from happening here. Could I ask Miss Buchun if she would volunteer? Oh, sorry, not Miss Buchun. Let me ask all three of you. Can one of you from presentation 9 volunteer to join Nikisha James Prentice in vision and strategic direction, so that at least we have two people who are here now in this group, or from the other group, 6 here, Yearwood, Juman, and Ali Didier, um, to volunteer to join James, for the simple reason that, I don't want to put a whole pile of people who haven't turned up in class into a group and then it creates problems later on. Anybody willing to make a trade, please? I is the one begging.
So I was making like a side group chat, so the three of us would have already tried to get acquainted, but so far I only got in contact with Sabrina, so I don't want to sound like I'm throwing anybody in the bush, but
So you want to, no, I want somebody to volunteer.
okay.
All right. If you want to volunteer to jump across and leave Sabrina and Buchun to head up that team, fine. But I mean, do because Yearwood, what about Zaria, Kira, or Kalisha? One of you jumping out of that group. I will make an executive decision. Huh? If I don't start to hear some volunteer.
I do not want to switch.
Miss Yearwood?
I do not want to switch. I'm just
You,
putting that out there.
you might not have a choice just now,
That's crazy.
This is my class, not a democracy. All right. Zaria, how you feeling?
I mean,
You mean what?
I mean,
You mean
sure, sure,
what?
sure, sure, sure.
All right,
Sure,
good.
sure, sure. Sure.
Good. I'm glad you understand.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So the reason why that I want um, at least 2 people per group, because what unfortunately tends to happen is that when we have people who don't make the first class, when they come in, there's really kind of struggle to catch up for whatever reason, for some reason. So that means um, we have person here, Jonathan Brooks. Anybody's familiar with Jonathan Brooks? I'll put Jonathan Brooks with Miss Yearwood and company. The next person is Caleb Charles. I will put Caleb Charles.
So, I have a question. I will kill up Charles. You can play my group.
Who's my group?
Kushan Singh. My bad, sir. Or is it full?
Your group full already. You only allowed
Okay.
2 in your group.
Okay, sir. My bad.
Okay, no worries. There's somebody called Atoria Murray. Anybody familiar with Atoria? I'm gonna put her with Juman and James. And Haley Ramuta, I will place with Miss Brown and Miss Nuria Khan. All right. Let me make this look a little neater. I have to make these names a little smaller. Alright, let me make this bigger so that things will get easier to work with. Do, 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 do. All right. Okay, so we have our teams more or less set up. If you want to change, you have to find somebody to swap with, okay? So we have for presentation 1, King and Sampat. Presentation 2, Selma and Gulab Singh. That's Ramona. Presentation 3, Malik and Ali Farah. Presentation 4, Sipasad and Francis. Presentation 5, Singh and Claude. Presentation 6, our first 3-man team, Yearwood, Ali, Didier, and Brooks. Presentation 7, Crick, Ramdas and Charles. Presentation 8, James Prentice, Juman and Murray. Presentation 9, Alicia Khan, Ramcharita, and Buchun. And presentation 10, Brown, Khan, and Tiffany. All right, so what I will do now is I will update the e-classroom with this new list because the e-classroom has the older version, which would have had just the blank one. So this would make it this will update it so you could pull it down and get it for yourselves. All right. So I'll delete this one. Yes, and I'll update from our. Let's make sure this is saved. Go to Wednesdays. So this should be the updated version. So that updates the file on the eClassroom already with the teams. Now, of course, I would encourage that you all start to, start to get together with each other. Um, you know, you're in which team. Reach out to your fellow students and make sure that you start to work together. The first thing, of course, you want to do is read the chapters. So download the textbooks, read the chapters that you're assigned. Next week, I will start with chapter 1. The following week, I think we have a holiday. If I remember right, yeah, the 17th we have chapter one. We have the 24th coming up, which is a holiday. Then we've the first and the eighth. So you have time to meet. You have about 4 weeks over which you can get together and start to plan your attack in terms of how you're going to present your chapters and teach the class the content from those chapters. Okay. So, anybody has any questions about any of this stuff so far? Everybody feels comfortable. They think they're on top of things now. They understand what they're doing and what they're going to expect.
Uh, do we have to have our cameras on for the presentation?
No. Nope. I will not insist upon that because I can't guarantee what your degree of preparation is going to be. All right. I have cameras, I have lights, I have studio microphones, I have a green screen so I can do a backdrop and that kind of stuff. I can't guarantee that that's going to be the case that you have available. So I don't want to set you all up and create some degree of uncomfortableness. All right. That sounds fair.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. The main thing is to make sure that your environment is quiet enough so when you open your microphone, um, we're not getting too much disturbance. But I know sometimes we don't have as much control as we'd like to have. Um, we've had I have recordings of presentations with dogs barking in the background and all kind of things. So it could happen. So but don't panic. We'll try to work with it as is. All right. All right. Anybody has any questions, queries, or other concerns they have? No? All right, let me stop sharing. Right, I see people are messaging people in the chat to try and touch base with each other. That's good. That's excellent. You all are being proactive, and that's a good thing. Uh, okay, just seeing some weird messages here. All right, well, for today, that's it. I don't think I need to keep you all any longer. I think we've gone through everything. We've planned what our sessions are going to be. We've gone through all of the different assignments. I guess you could take some time and go through the e-classroom on your own now. Download the textbooks, download the assignments and schedules, and kind of get comfortable with the space. And if you have any questions, you could WhatsApp me. I have another class starting at 5 o'clock, so I wouldn't mind getting a little time, go and get something to eat. I'm not lunch yet before that class starts, so I'd appreciate it. But next week, more than likely, we will be using all of the class time. I'm going to try to shift my microeconomics class from 5 to 5:30, so that gives me a little window of opportunity between the two classes to get a little stretch and relaxation. All right, but I'll be looking out to see you guys next week. Cool? Any questions? Yes, go ahead, Nakisha.
So I too have a class starting at 5. So I would also need to, ensure that I leave on time here to head over to my next class.
Is it a physical class you're going to or another online class?
No, it's another online class.
All right. Okay, cool. No worries. And I understand. But so that means the day you're presenting your group, it might be feasible for you to go in terms of the order. You might, if let's see, what day you have. Um, right. So you are technically supposed to go second in the order on November the 5th, right? So maybe we could invert that, allow your group to present first so that you don't end up getting caught late. That makes sense?
I probably can work around it on that day.
Well, it
I
depends. If
consult with my group members.
well, not only that, you could also does the other class you're going to, they're going to meet every week.
Right. So this week is the first week, so I'm not sure. So I'll
Right.
find
So
out
when
that
you
when I
find
go
out
to.
more, then you'll be able to have a better informed thing.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Cool. No worries. Anybody else questions? All right. That's it. let's call it Jorge for the evening, guys. Thank you for choosing this class. I know some of you all, this is absolutely a choice, not a requirement. So I want to thank you all for coming in and being in class with me. See you all next week.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye,
So
guys.
thank
Some of you all I'll see later. Good night. Good evening, I should say.